The first thing I want to do is to add a restore button on the file menu. We're going to restore deleted trees. I'll show you what that means in the GUI file. You have a place where you can delete the current tree. When you do that, it goes into a special folder. The folder's right, but it says the wrong thing here. This is old and needs to be replaced. It's just text telling the user where the recycle bin is. Because TreeBARD is a portable app, it doesn't use Windows Recycle Bin. If you delete a tree, it's gone and you can't get it back. Instead of doing that, when you run the delete current tree command, it puts the files in a folder called trash. Let's find that folder so we can know how to rename this over in the Where tab. Let's do that first. It's going to be in here someplace. This is the TreeBARD folder, so if you have TreeBARD on your computer, it's going to be in here. You see, those are all the TreeBARD files. TreeBARD backups. This is your username. It's a copy of your username. TreeBARD put this here. TreeBARD created this folder. TreeBARD can figure out what your Windows username is, and that's what happened. And there is the trash. And there are the deleted trees. Inside here we're going to have something called test01 TBD. That's the database, as well as an images file. Nothing in it. In here we're going to have a database called saveas001.tbd. That's the family tree, the database. This one has images. And the John Smith Family Tree 02 is going to have a family tree, John Smith Family Tree 02.tbd, as well as an images folder. So what we need to do in order to restore a tree is to go inside this trash directory and get this directory and all its contents for whichever tree is being restored. But first, I want to copy this path, which is now the correct path that should be right here. So we go into the Where tab. Let's look in main.py. All right, well then let's search this. The backup trash folder will go in blah blah blah. Okay, let's just paste what we copied there for a second. D is the current drive. We no longer have this users because I decided, well, that's too much like what Windows does. We don't want to pretend we're Windows. Who would want to do that? TreeBARD backups. This is just a string instructing the user where to go look if he wants to prove to himself that things are being saved when he deletes them. Okay, then we got the user, that's here, and then we go straight to the trash. Much simpler and better. Restart, see if it worked right. I'm sure it did. Just a simple string. This is just a string. It has no functionality. So that's going to be D, TreeBARD backups, Lutherman, trash. That part's done. So our goal is to move that directory and its contents from somewhere in here to somewhere in here. We'll get Python to do that for us. We also have to go into data settings, tbard.db, and add that family tree back to the table called family tree that tells us which trees actually exist. So we got to reinstitute it back into the global database. This is just a tiny global database that refers to everything in TreeBARD as opposed to the individual databases like sample tree. This is a family tree, this is a family tree, this is a family tree. But the first thing I want to do after clicking this Python move directory and contents, I'm sure I already know how to do that, but I don't do it very often. The first thing I want to do is add a command right here, either right above or right below delete current tree. We're going to say restore deleted tree. That will be done in opening.py, which is used to create the family trees and the menus and stuff. And we'll just copy this line and change the words. Restore deleted tree. For now, we'll just keep the parameters the same, but we'll check on that eventually, make sure they're the ones we need, obviously. And we'll write down our goals here. Tree ID is used as a primary key in that table. I need another one of me to do documentation, tell you the truth. That's why I make movies, because you got to watch my movies instead of reading my non-existent documentation. There's a little bit of documentation in, I think it's called docs.txt, which is probably in the etc. folder. See if it's running. It's not going to do anything except to print running restore deleted tree. We were getting ready to do some research. Moving all files from one directory to another using Python. Let's give this a shot, see what happens. Do we already have something in here called rename? And if so, I can use my own example. Yes, it's already here. Let's just use our own example here. If you go up to the top, we've already imported this from OS. So what we did over here is we renamed a tree. I'm just going to bring this over in case I feel like looking at it. So we got examples from Stack Overflow, and we've got examples from this very module. We should be cooking with gas by now. Something like this. I know something like that's going to happen. This is going to be the source, so let's go to the handy dandy file manager. This is the source. And this is the destination. That's a start anyways. TreeBARD is a portable program. So, is this going to exist? Yes. For example, you put TreeBARD in a USB and you go to a friend's house to, babysit the goldfish for a couple of weeks, and you're using their computer because they said you could. So you copy TreeBARD from their USB to their computer, or let's say you're just using it on the USB in a Starbucks or whatever, in case you got a lot of money, go to Starbucks. When you run TreeBARD, it's going to see if this exists. If this file doesn't exist, it's going to create it in your current drive. So that should exist. If you've run TreeBARD, that should already exist. If it already exists, TreeBARD won't make it again. That part's already done. Copy that. Put this in there. This is going to be current drive. This is going to be Windows user. This is going to be trash. I'll see if any of these things actually exist already in this module. We've already imported current drive. This is wrong. This is just a string. Main.py. This is how you get it. Let's look in base.py. There you go. It came from OS. Move this up here where it's needed. All these folders and files already exist. We're just putting them in here. Let's put our goals here so that they don't fester in the nether regions of our teeny tiny little mind. Do we have to do rename once for each dir or file, or just once? Do we have to delete the stuff out of trash? I don't think we have to, but just we have to check to make sure that it works, that it's gone out of the trash. We don't want to have two copies of the same thing floating around. We want to open the database and make our changes there. Whenever I open TREEBARD.db instead of the family tree database, I use slightly different variables so that I know what I'm doing. This is how you open TREEBARD.db, and this is how you remember to close it, by going like this before you write your queries. This is the part I know I'm getting right. We're going to insert a new record into family tree, into the family tree table, which is a table in TREEBARD.db. So let's look at that schema just so that we have some indication that we're getting things right. TREEBARD.db has references to all the trees. I could just select everything from family tree because it doesn't have a lot in it right now. Or I could go .schema family tree and just see the column names and constraints and stuff. Dub is a replacement for title. The word title caused all kinds of problems. We don't have to put anything in these three columns because they all have default values. I'll show you in the schema. Schema family tree. Color scheme ID is an integer, not null. Default 1 references the color scheme table. Font text default courier font size integer default 12. We don't have to insert values here. This is going to say 1 courier 12. Normally you don't have to tell the primary key what to be, but when it's a string you do. So we're going to have to insert something to family tree ID and dub. We need a placeholder for each variable, and then the variables go here and here. Family tree ID is the file name. This is the title of the tree, which are related string-wise, but where are we going to get them from? Good question. The best way to do this is to actually open a file manager so the user can select what's in trash, so they don't try to restore something that isn't in trash. So we're going to open a file selector and look at what's in this path, and the user will just select it, and then we'll have all the strings we need to create these two variables right here and right here. So we're going to have a way to create file name, and from file name we're going to create the tree title. I'll give an example. Let's say we deleted the sample tree. This is the file name. This is the title. This is title case. This is lowercase. So first we're going to replace underscores with a space, and then we're going to put it in title case. And now we have to go to the file manager that comes with tkinter. How are we going to do that? Well, there's going to be several examples right here in this module. So this is the place that we want them to look, but that is actually this string. Let's just do this. Actually, we're using it twice, using it here too. So we could give it a name. Title Okay, we want them to select the folder. We don't want them to go down inside the folder. We should be asking for a folder, not a file. It's simpler than what I was doing because we're not asking for a file name, we're asking for a folder name. That's just one line. This opens the file manager. The user selects a directory and the directory is returned from the method when the dialog closes. Comment this and put our new example code under it. We're going to say TK file dialog. We've got the directory we want. This is no longer what we're doing. Changed my mind about that. Family tree ID is the file name. Dub is dub. Let's see what our first error is because I'm out of ideas. We're trying to recreate data. That file already exists. Don't want to do that. Line 821. We need to say what this folder is because it already exists. This path already exists. This folder is being created. So we're going to create this. This already exists, but hopefully that's okay. But this doesn't exist. The problem is now, are we getting the right stuff from here? No. We got to get this stuff first from the user so we know what we're doing. And then do the renaming. So the first thing we do is get the user to tell us what we need to know. Tree directory. And then we're going to get the contents of the tree directory out of trash. And then we're going to create that tree directory and put the contents of this tree directory inside this tree directory by the same name. Let's also look to make sure that nothing got changed in here in the database. Select everything from family tree. Let's try to restore this. Oh, this is a full path. I do need to split this, like I said before. And then we need to get the last element out of that, and that is our tree directory. So tree directory is a full path. Now I don't have to do this, do I? Because I just got it here, right? And the other thing that I wanted to do was to add a parameter for this, if possible. Let's call this init_dir. So that's where we're going to start, and then the user can change that in case he's saved copies of stuff out of trash in some other directory. Okay, I'm out of ideas again. Let's find the next error. Tree directory on 821. That variable doesn't exist yet. Init_dir. This is just where the dialog is going to open to first, so that the user doesn't have to go figure out where to find the trash directory. He shouldn't need to know where it is. Now we're cooking with gas. We're going to select that directory. I'll have to restart the app to actually see that tree available here. This is perfect. Now let's see what's in here. There's John Smith Family Tree 02. That's there, that's there. In the trash, let's see if everything's been deleted. Okay, it's gone from here. It got moved. Let's just see if it has in fact become available if we reopen the app. Yes, but does it work? Yes, it does. I'll be darned. I thought that was going to be hard. The hard part is stopping, because I like to do this, but I need to do other things. That feature is close to complete. The only thing I really want to add to what we just did is I would like for the user to get instant access to that tree that he has just restored instead of having to restart the app. All you need to do is add some values to the combo box where the trees are listed, which happened automatically when the combo box was recreated by restarting the app. But if all we have to do is give new values to the combo box, then let's just give new values to the combo box instead of restarting the whole app. So what is that combo box going to be called, and where is it going to be referenced? There it is. That's the file selector. It's in opening.py, but it's an attribute of TREEBARD because TREEBARD is the main app. In other words, the dialog or the window that is a widget, which is the main app. self.treebard.fileSelector.config values, which is a method inside of the combo box class. The combo box is a custom combo box that I made myself, so I wouldn't have to use tkinter's TTK combo box. I don't use TTK widgets for anything. By the way, do we have access to TREEBARD here? Pretty sure we do. Yes, we do. We don't need access to this, so let's delete this. Restore deleted tree. All right, so for the perfect test, let's make one and delete it and then restore it. Here's our new tree, restore test 001. We're going to delete the current tree. It's no longer listed here. We want to go down here. Look at this. It's not in this list. We just deleted it, so it won't be in here either. This is the one we want. There it is. It doesn't open. Let's clean up the database because it's gotten confusing now. I'll show you how to do that. We're going to get rid of everything except sample tree, which I do periodically. Delete from family tree where family tree ID is not equal to sample tree. So that we don't have stuff in recent trees that we don't want. You go into File Manager. You delete everything except sample tree and settings. We keep sample tree. We keep settings, and all these are dead trees. Most of them are defective. We want to try again with clean settings and stuff, so it's not confusing. That's number 2 thing. Now number 3 thing is we delete this because it will be created again with default values next time we open TREEBARD. We're going to start over, and this time if we get an error we'll look at it and take it seriously. See, now all we got is sample tree. That's all we want. Make a new tree called Restore Test 02. Restore test 02. Delete the current tree. It's been taken out of recent trees. It's not in here. It's not in here. So it was deleted properly. There are no errors. Now we'll try to restore it. This is what we want. There it is. Let's try to open it. Apparently there is a dictionary called family trees. It's an attribute of TreeBard, the app, so that we can access it from anywhere. The key is the directory, the tree ID, and open tells us whether or not it's open. So what we got to do is in our restore function, we've got to put that in to this dictionary. So let's go find family trees in the TreeBard class. We initialize the dictionary and we find all the trees and we put them all in and we say they're all closed. That's one way to do it. However, they are not all closed. We'll use this as a hint. We're not going to do this. The dictionary already exists. This is going to be called tree directory. Let's call it tree ID because that's what we call it everywhere else in the whole app. So let's not get original here. And then we have to make sure that's actually available to use, that key. This tells us whether or not it's open, which it's not, and the tree key refers to the actual widget, the window that opens to show you the tree, and that is going to be none. It doesn't exist because the tree is not open. So this might solve our problem. We need the practice. Let's do it again. Delete everything that is not a sample tree. This is what happens when you want to start with a clean slate. Just don't delete sample tree. Part 2, we delete this. Part 3, we delete this. Now we've got a clean slate. Sample tree opens. We're going to make a new tree called Restore Test 3. We're going to delete the current tree. Restore deleted tree, this one. Try to open it. Now we're okay. Let's say that feature's finished for now. I think it's going to work fine. Everything's appearing to be hunky-dory for now. I'm not going to jinx myself by saying it's perfect or finished, but if I was going to jinx myself by saying it was perfect or finished, then I'd go ahead and say it's perfect and finished, but I'm not going to do that because I'm superstitious. Everything's there. Let's just prove it in data. Restore test 03. Images, there aren't any because there weren't any. You don't have any images in a new tree. It would be good to make a copy of sample tree since it does have images and then delete the copy and then restore it. So let's try to remember to do that, but first we got to get save copy as to work because that's how it wanted. Make the copy with the GUI. Okay, well, I'll see you in the next movie and we'll work on more bugs. Thanks for dropping by. See you later.